Neighbors, you smell that? That's the coming spring. It's nearly upon us. Winter is loosening its terrible grip on us. I feel it. The air is starting to warmen. Those little weed grasses are starting to poke their little heads up. The grass is starting to grow. My apples and pear trees are starting to blossom. The 134th Air Refueling Wing has got Girl Weekend. I can tell the airplanes are flying. Thank you for that. I'm not trying to record a video at all. We love you. We appreciate your service. This weekend, we've got a plan. You see, neighbors, the name of this channel is The Bearded Handyman. I'm handy. I'm not a professional. We're going to try to overseed this yard. I've got a plan. I'm going to cut this grass, and this grass looks like garbage. We're going to cut it low. My friend from work, Nathan, has been kind enough to loan me his aerator. It's not top of the line, but it is amazing. You know why it's amazing? Because it was a loaner, and we love loaners. So we're going to try to tow that aerator around this yard. I've got about 3/4 of an acre. We're going to overseed around the house. There's weeds everywhere. There is crabgrass everywhere. I've got a Kentucky 31 fescue that I put up every year. So the other issue I've got is shade trees everywhere. So I've got a shade tolerant seed I'm going to put under the shade trees. Normally I do a creeping red fescue. I didn't get that this year because you got to understand, I shop around. Sometimes I go to the farmer's co-op. Sometimes I go to Tractor Supply. Sometimes Home Depot's competitive. This year Tractor Supply won out. We've got a farm tax credit we take advantage of. If you're a farmer, you need to take advantage of your local or your statewide farm tax credit. You're going to save some money. So we're going to go with that Kentucky 31 and a shade tolerant overseeding grass seed. So first things first, I'm going to not scalp the yard, but I'm going to cut it low. I think that Kentucky 31 calls for a 2.5 to 4 inch grass height. We're going to go about 1 inch to 1.5. I'm telling you what, there's all kinds of grass growers in this world, and I'm not a professional. There's people that could roll a golf ball across their yard and it rolls beautifully. If I rolled a golf ball across my yard, it's going to hit roots, it's going to hit barn cats. There's a barn cat. It's liable to hit a cow. So I'm somewhere between that and probably a cow field, closer to the cow field. So we're going to be towards the amateur level of your residential farm grass level. So let's get started. We're going to cut the yard. We've got this AgriFab aerator hooked up now to the Husqvarna. One thing that Nathan told us to to do was to load that deck down. So I had a couple bags of pond pebbles. I've thrown that on there. I had about a dozen of these small retaining wall block, and I threw 6 on there just to even it out on each side. One thing I picked up at Tractor Supply that I like a lot is this kingpin hitch pin, and I don't know if I can get down there on it, but it's got a quick release that is really handy whenever you're hooking these little attachments up. So I highly recommend picking one of those up if you're at Tractor Supply. A couple focus points that I'm wanting to hit when I'm aerating is this area that is underneath this Bradford pear tree that I've had grass grow here. When we bought this house about 4 or 5 years ago, this whole area was just mud and dirt. And you can see I've been able to get a little bit of grass to take. I'm really hoping that this aeration process will get this seed to take a little bit more. I've put that creeping red fescue down here a few seasons in a row, and you can see that there's just some bare spots that I'm wanting rid of bad. Now I'm really worried about, you can see these bare roots with that aerator, so that's one thing I'm gonna have to be aware of. And then the other place that I'm wanting to focus on is in the backyard underneath these maple trees, or that maple tree. I'm not a tree person, but I do know there's a maple back there. I've been able to put creeping red back there, and that was just a mud pit. But you can see that after this mow, I've got good grass, and it's amazing what a mow will do for a yard. The front yard looks surprisingly pretty good. So we're gonna lower this aerator and give it a shot. Okay, so we're going to close out this video talking a little bit about aeration and the seed that I'm going to put down. I've got a little note card here just because I don't want to tell you wrong. I did a little research just so, because yesterday I didn't really know why we were going to aerate. So aeration creates holes down into the soil to alleviate compaction so air, water, and nutrients can reach grass roots. So like I said yesterday, I don't believe this property's ever been aerated. So I'm pretty excited to see what the outcome of the aeration process is going to do for the ground and the grass that we're going to put down today. Deprived of their basic needs by compaction, soil, lawn grasses struggle in stressful situations such as heat and low rainfall and lose their healthy, rich color. So when are we going to aerate? In the cool season northern lawns, early fall or early spring. In these warm season southern grasses, late spring or very early summer. So we're not really doing the time frame that we should be. Right now we're on the verge of spring, so I didn't really hit the time frame I'm supposed to. You know, go figure, I'm not a pro. The important thing to point out is, you just need to have a plan for what you're wanting to do for your yard, and I did the research on what grasses I wanted to put down, and I'm going to be using this Kentucky 31 coated. It's a high traffic, wear tolerant grass seed. It's going to grow to about 3 inches. I don't have to mow it a lot. It's sun and shade tolerant, so that's what I was looking for. It cuts to 3 inches. So the way I spread that is with this Scott's Turf Builder Edge Guard Mini. I like it because it does have the edge guard on it. And what I mean by that is it's got this little edge guard on the back side here that you can move. So when you're spreading seed next to walkways, or like on that long driveway, you can move that edge guard and you're not going to waste seed next to the walkways and driveways. So I really like that feature about it. And also the settings, there's a great website that you can go to, and I can put the link on the comments to find the settings for these tall fescues that I'm going to be using today. So like that, like I was saying, for this Kentucky 31, for overseeding like we're going to be doing it today, it calls for a 7.5 setting. So it's going to be really easy to put this on 7.5 and we're set. So I really like that feature in that website, so I don't have to do all the mixing and weighing to figure out if I'm at the right setting for these type of grass seeds. The other thing we're going to be using, like I mentioned yesterday, for the areas underneath that Bradford pear and those maple trees where it's just dense shade, we're going to be using this Groundworks Rapid Grow Deep Shade. And it's a 50% tall fescue, 20% creeper, which last season I put down that creeping red fescue, so I like that this does have some creeping red into it. 20% chewings, I have no idea what 20% chewings is. And then a 10% perennial rye. So I haven't used this before, so I'm pretty excited to see what the outcome of that is. And some of the benefits of it is less mowing and poor soil conditions. If you're in the Tennessee area, especially East Tennessee, you know that we're subject to red clay. There's red clay everywhere. If you put a shovel in this dirt anywhere, it's just a thick, red, nasty clay. So I was excited to see that poor soil conditions are a benefit of this grass seed. So I've never had a soil test done, but you know, I do look for grass seeds that are real resilient, drought tolerant, and high traffic, because I do drive through the yard with my truck, the mower, things of that nature. So I like stuff about that. All this information came from Pennington websites. I can put a link to in the comments for that as well. I'm not gonna put a video of me spreading seed. You guys pretty well know, or you people know how to spread seed. Basically just put the seed in the hopper. You make sure that you got your settings right for overseeding. If you're putting a new lawn in, you want to make sure that you get the new lawn settings. It's probably going to require that you turn the heat up a little bit on that, but I'm going to be overseeding, so we're going to get after that. And okay, just a few final tips to leave you with before we close out this video. Some of you might be asking, I don't know how much seed to get. I mean, I know I live on an acre of land, but how much is that? One of the things that I do, I can math a little bit, but I don't like mathing a whole lot of it. I like to get on Google Maps, and if you right click over top of your property, on that drop down menu, there's a measure distance function. Now when you click that measure distance function, it's going to drop a little black dot on the map somewhere. You can drag that to the corner of where you know that your property line exists, and then once that's where you want it, you can start clicking more dots, and it's going to start measuring around your house and property line. Now once you make a perimeter around your house, you're going to notice that there's measuring increments in a small white frame at the bottom of the screen. So it's going to give you square footage around that, or whatever that frame you create. So I knew that once I was finished with that, it gave me that square footage. So it's going to require you to go to another screen and enter that square footage. Now what I do next is you can figure out acreage, or on these bags it says covers up to 3,500 square feet. So I knew for these problem areas underneath this shade, I measured the shaded areas, which was here and over there, and I knew that this 1 5-pound bag would cover these shaded areas. Problem solved. So for the Kentucky 31, I had to figure out the overseeding rate, and then figure out for all of the overseeding areas that I was doing the Kentucky 31 in, how much square footage that was, and then figure out what the square footage that 2 50-pound bags, or however many 50-pound bags, 5-pound bags, whatever requirements were for the overseeding. Or if you're doing a new lawn, it's going to require more seed. So those are just things you need to think about. But that measure distance function on Google Maps is a really handy way to figure out your square footage, instead of just knowing that you have 1 acre. Well, your house, you're not going to overseed on top of your house, so there's no sense in buying seed for that area. So it's just a good way to save a little bit of money. Another tip that I like to do when I oversee the yard, instead of just coming out every 2 or 3 days and looking at bare spots, there's always going to be a little bit of seed left in your spreader. So what I like to do is I like to take an empty Coke bottle or a soda bottle or whatever bottle, and I'll take some soil from just a place that I don't mind digging a little bit of dirt up. I'll fill it up with that soda bottle, and or I'll fill that soda bottle up with dirt, and I'll take some of these, 3 or 4 or 5 seeds, and I'll put it in that soda bottle. Now what I'm doing is I'm doing a test to see when this seed is going to start taking out here. Now if it rains on a certain day, I'll water the seed. If it doesn't rain on Tuesday, I'm not going to put any water in that bottle. What I'm doing is I'm simulating what's happening outside inside. I'll put it in a sunny location because I'm curious what's happening in the front yard. So I'll put that bottle in a location to simulate the front yard. So instead of coming out here, well, I wonder what the seed's doing. No, I'm going to know what the seed's doing because I'm simulating it. So that's just a good handy trick to just kind of experiment and know exactly what the seed's doing. Now for this Kentucky 31, it recommends a 1/4 inch depth when you put it in the ground. So that's another thing you want to do to simulate this test, is know how deep the seed needs to be in the dirt. So I'll put that seed in the soda bottle 1/4 inch deep. I'll cover it up in soil that I know to be exactly where I want to see what the seed is doing. So that's just another little tip that I like to do to know what the grass seed is doing. But that's about it. I know it's been a long video. It's been a long 2 days for me. If you like what's going on in this channel, I ask that you subscribe it, click the bell, share it with your friends and family. Anyways, I appreciate y'all watching. Thanks. We'll see you next time.